Here's how to start a six-figure AI marketing agency in the modern world, even if you don't know how to build the tech. This is the exact system I use to close deals and license our AI, and you can copy it step by step. All right, so I'm going to walk you through our system on how to start a six-figure AI marketing agency. This is going to be a step-by-step guide, so I'm going to give you all of the frameworks that have worked for me in my agency. So step one is pick your niche and define your offer. So we have to actually be able to define who it is that we're selling to, what offer we're running, what problem we're solving. So I'm going to go over all these things here. So the first thing is obviously choosing your niche. So you want to start with a high paying, high ticket local niche that urgently needs better systems, right? So think about like chiropractors, med spas, dentists, gyms, businesses where one client can be worth $1,000 to $10,000 and where follow-up is critical. Now, obviously, this is just like the kind of like a framework of who to target. You don't have to go after local businesses. You can go after very big companies. You can go after weird niches. Like it's totally up to you. It just depends on what you want to go after, what you like. So this is just giving you a basic framework on how to start if you don't know how to start. All right, so the second thing is we want to define our services. So we want to be brutally clear. Are we helping them generate leads? Are we helping them convert leads? Are we helping them retain clients? You need to position your offer around solving one specific bottleneck that's costing them money every day. So again, you need to be very clear and you need to make this very clear to the client so that you can actually provide value to them and they'll actually be able to see the return that they're getting when investing into this system. Next is going to be you want to use the AI to stand out, right? You want to capitalize on the current AI momentum. Everybody's really hyped about AI right now. Everybody knows that it's the future. So you want to go ahead and use it to stand out from like normal marketing agency, the more normal Facebook agency. There's like a ton of those out there. So again, you want to use a new vehicle to stand out from the pack and use that to build momentum. Now, of course, you want to position your done for you system as a smart assistant or a smart AI assistant that handles follow-up, books appointments, boosts conversions without more staff or tech headaches. All right, and lastly here is you want to package your services, right? So you have your niche, you pick that. Now you define what your services do. In our case, we help customers actually be able to nurture leads, use the assistant to follow up with the leads and book them on their calendar, right? So we use the lead generation type of system, right? Because that's what generates sales, that's what generates more money. So we like to focus on that. Of course, using the AI stand out, that's going to be step 3, right? We want to capitalize on that, use it to kind of set us apart from everybody else. So once we start doing each of these things, we're starting to get in a better and better position. And then of course, the last thing is going to be packaging your services, right? So there's a few different options that you can choose from. You can either have an AI system by itself and just sell that, or you can integrate that with ads, which is what we do, and just makes our services more valuable, right? So we like to use a very simple retainer setup fee model, right? And I can give you some example pricing here, but we don't use like any paper show models or anything like that. We just like to keep it very simple, make it a retainer with the setup fee model, and that works very, very well for us. So I'll give you some example pricing here. So first is if you want to go like just the AI plus ads, which is something that we do, it would be about $1,500 to $2,500 per month, right? Retainer, so that's about how much you can charge. You know, sometimes you can charge more, sometimes it has to be a little bit less, but I wouldn't go anywhere under 1,500. And yeah, this is going to allow you to be able to use the leverage of AI, integrate it with ads, add more value, and just depending on the business that you're working with, this is going to be the retainers that you're gonna be able to charge. So that's gonna be the first pricing model is if you integrate the AI with ads. Now, if you do the AI system only, you can charge anywhere from like $750 to like $1,500 a month if you want to just use the AI system and not run any ads or anything like that. So that's going to be kind of the basic model, right? If you like don't know how to run ads, if you don't have a marketing agency doing that, is you can just start learning tech. You can just start with the AI system, and that's just going to be a lot easier in terms of deliverables. And then lastly, if it is including the AI, you do want to add some sort of setup fee, right? Depending on the scope, right? Like if it's a big complicated setup, you could charge upwards of 10, 15 grand. I've seen plenty of people do that. But if it's like a very simple setup, you're just setting up like an AI assistant that does a little bit of follow up, then it doesn't have to be that much, right? So again, you can add a setup fee and just depending on the scope of work, but this is really going to allow you to get some cash flow up front, and you can then invest that into ads. You can then invest that into better systems, a better team, right? And that's going to help you a ton when you're scaling. All right, so step two is you want to deploy and plug in an AI fulfillment system. So most businesses are still running outdated systems, like even the really successful ones. Like I've talked to a lot of people lately, they have really big businesses and they're still using like basic copy and paste type models for their systems, and it's kind of crazy, right? So don't discount that everybody already has an advanced system, because a lot of businesses don't, and this is where you want to highlight your performing AI system and use it as a competitive edge, right? So this is going to be very important. A lot of businesses need this, and a lot of businesses don't have this, especially the older business owners that don't know anything about AI, don't have any crazy systems, right? You want to make sure that we educate those people, and we can get a lot of those people on board as well. So again, don't think that a lot of people have this, because this is something that recently just came out a few years ago. Like remember that day where nobody used ChatGPT and now everybody's using it. Like I'm using it every day, and it's crazy. It's a crazy world we're living now. So we want to take advantage of it and maximizing it as much as we can. All right, so that's going to be the first thing. Second thing is clearly define the core problem your AI system solves. Is it customer service? Is it lead follow-up? Is it appointment booking? Identify the bottleneck and reverse engineer the ideal solution. Like for us is we're like, okay, what is going to make the clients the most money? And that's usually going to be in the sales department. So what we did is we created an AI assistant that helps clients follow up with the leads and actually book them on the calendar for them. And then of course also qualifying them, making sure that we have the right information, making sure that we're getting quality leads, and that we're not just getting a bunch of leads that are not serious. So we were able to, okay, clearly define what is the problem that we were having. Like I'll give you an example. Within our agency, we had a bunch of clients and we were getting a ton of leads for those clients, but we noticed that some clients didn't actually want to follow up with their leads, or maybe texted somebody once, called somebody once, and they're like, hey, these leads are not working, or these leads are trash, right? But obviously once we got on calls with them and we started going through their process, is it's not that the leads were bad, is that they just weren't following up enough, and they weren't following enough promptly, right? They'll follow up like a day later, right? So it's just stuff like that. Is I had to come with a solution for my own clients to make their experience better, to get their results better, right? So that's why we kind of developed this selfishly for ourselves and for our clients, so that we can get better results for them and retain them longer. And, coming to find out that there's a lot of people that need this outside of our industry. So this is why we kind of decided to do this, and we can, like, now we can tailor our AI to whatever industry. But that is it. We clearly define a problem. Is this is a problem that our clients were having? How do we solve it? And that's what you want to focus on. So you don't have to necessarily copy what we did, but that is just what we started with, because that's the big problem that we saw. Next, you can build your system from scratch using tools like high-level ChatGPT, Make, Zapier, or license a proven, done for you AI system to shortcut the learning curve. So if you're somebody who is like very tech savvy, you're very introverted, you're interested in using tech, and you're very familiar with using all these things, right? Then in that case, it might not be too bad to maybe try to build your own, or try to build some sort of version for it. Right now, if you maybe don't want to do that, or don't have 6 to 12 months of coding, then you definitely want to license somebody else's, and then eventually build your own. But I think that would kind of be the way to get started. That way it's not such a big time frame before you actually launch it and you start to make money. So those are the two options that you have right now. And lastly is you want to test, optimize, and train your system before launching it to clients. A poor AI system can destroy trust and credibility. So ensure that it actually works flawlessly so that it becomes an asset, not a liability, right? I've seen, guys, I cannot tell you how many crappy AI systems I've seen out there. And most of the time they actually cause more problems than they solve, right? So you don't want to have like some very basic system, some very basic AI that breaks whenever they get thrown a random question, right? So you have to be very, very careful. Is you need to be able to have something that's good enough where it actually becomes an asset instead of a liability. And if you can create that for clients, then clients are going to pay a lot of money for that because that is what they want, and that is what's going to help them get more sales and save more time. All right, and lastly, step 3, the client acquisition part of it. So here's how to actually get clients on Autopilot. So the first thing is going to be is you want to be sending personalized cold outreach that stands out, right? Everybody is doing like the copy and paste messages. They bought a course, they give you like a super basic crappy message that has been sent out millions and millions of times, right? And you know, when I see those things nowadays, it's just like I don't even acknowledge it. I don't even like reply because it's just so overplayed, right? So you have to be different, you have to be weird, you have to stand out, get creative, do something that nobody has ever done before, right? So again, that is what's gonna work nowadays. If you try to do some random copy and paste messages, like the chances of you getting somebody are going to be very, very slim, right? So again, you know, we like to use like Loom videos, voice notes into DMs to kind of break through the noise. Just do something different. Do a Loom video with their website, but do something or do something like very weird or very like stand outish, right? Like do something that's going to catch their attention and that's going to show them that you're confident in what you do, and that is going to show them like, hey, you're actually trying, you actually want to work with them, you're actually putting a lot of effort into building this relationship with them, right? So building this relationship with them. So again, use something very personalized, even if you're only sending like 10 messages a day, which is not really enough, but you at least want it. If you do it, it's better to send 10 very, very personalized messages than to try to send a bunch of them that are copy and paste. So you want to break through the noise. And then of course, make sure you're targeting the decision makers directly. You don't want to be sending a message to somebody that it's like, okay, their assistant is managing their Instagram. Okay, well then they're not gonna, the owner is not even going to see that. So you want to make sure that you are reaching out to the decision makers directly, whether it's through Instagram, whether it's through email, whether it's through text. So again, you want to do a little bit of research and make sure that you are actually reaching the decision maker. And of course, you actually want to reference their business because every business has a different problem. Some businesses struggle with certain things. Some businesses like struggle with sales, lead follow-up. Some of them struggle with retention. So you have to figure out a little bit about their business as well and like kind of go through and maybe test some of their systems and see what they're doing, right? And you can reference that when you're building that relationship with them and when you're doing that personalized cold outreach. You be like, hey, I went through your website, I signed up, nobody texted me, nobody had a conversation with me, nobody was able to answer my questions. You know, here's what we've built for clients, here's the new AI system that we built, here's how this can solve a ton of money that you're leaving on the table because you're not answering all of these leads that are coming into your website, right? You want to formulate some sort of pitch like that for that specific client, and that is going to help a lot in terms of like cutting through the noise. If you can show a business owner that they're losing money, that they're leaving money on the table because their systems are not good, then they're gonna be more than likely to listen because they want to stop the bleeding. They don't want to waste money. They don't want to leave money on the table, right? So that is going to be something that you want to bring up, and that is something that serious business owners will acknowledge because they're going to want to get that solved right away. All right, so next is going to be is you want to obviously have a sales process. So we use a two-step sales process that converts, right? So we either get people from DMs, cold email, we get people from ads. They book a call, which is more of like a discovery call where we chat with them on the phone for 15, 20 minutes to make sure they're a good fit. And then that's where if they're a good fit, we book them on a demo. And then on the demo, that's where we would close them into a paid client, right? So start casual. Don't just get on the phone with somebody and try to pitch them within the first 10 minutes. That's not going to work. It's like you want to spend most of that initial call on actually discovering what is that they're struggling with. Like, what are their problems? Can you actually help them, right? And that is going to be 80% of your sale. If you can really understand where businesses are messing up, and you then know, okay, here's how they're messing up. These are the gaps that I see. Here's how my system can solve that. Then that is going to be extremely more effective than if you just randomly try to pitch somebody on your service when you don't know anything about them, right? It's like if I go to the doctor and, I just have the doctor look at me and then he gives me some random pills and I'm like did you actually like understand my problem, right? It's like, so again, you want to fully dissect and understand what their problems are so that you can then provide them with the proper solution. And that is going to be the way to make the sale a lot easier. And it's not even going to feel like a sale. It's going to feel more of like just a natural process, right? So get them on a, wherever you're getting them from, whether it's paid ads, DM, cold outreach, right? Make sure you get them on a call. And on that call, that's going to be the discovery call. That's where you figure out what about their business. That's where you can really dissect what their problems are. Then when you get them on a demo, that's where you would go ahead and pitch the services and you would get them to close, right? And of course, once you pitch them on the demo you want to have case studies and you want to use a simple, here's how we do it for you. Here's how this would apply to your business, right? So everything needs to be tailored specifically to that business. You want to stay away, even if your system is kind of duplicatable and it's a little bit cookie cutter. So start casual, right? Once you are getting them booked, then once you book them, then that's when you want to figure out everything that you need to know about their business. And then if they're a good fit, book them on a demo. And that's where you finally present your offer with your case studies. And that's where you are able to close that deal. Now use a simple, here's how we do it for you frame, right? So everything that you pitch, you want to tailor it as much to the client as possible because the client needs to know that this actually applies to them, right? So you want to make sure that everything that they tell you on that discovery call, you use that in the demo, right? So for example, if a client is like, hey, I don't have a lot of time, I'm really busy, like this is a big issue for me, I just don't have enough time in a day, right? Then on the demo, you want to emphasize how much time you're going to save that client with your system and how he's going to be able to spend time doing more things, maybe spend time with his family, right? So these are the frames that you need to have when it comes to your sales processes. Now, thirdly is going to be the referrals, right? So you want to get referrals. You want to use the proof and case study flywheel. So this is basically when you get a few clients, start getting them amazing results, and you're able to then leverage those results and get more clients, right? So every happy client in the door can maybe equal you about 3 or more clients, right? So every happy client that you get could potentially be a door for 3 more, right? So again, ask for referrals. First, you need to make sure you get amazing results, right? You don't want to be putting out a crappy service or anything like that because that's going to hurt you more than anything, right? So once you get a few clients, you get a few case studies, you ask for referrals, and then you also start posting those case studies, right? Start posting those case studies, then more people are going to see that. You can post testimonial clips, you can post a screenshot, you can post videos, right? This is initially what helped me when I started getting my first few clients. Then I was able to leverage those case studies and get a few more by posting those micro case studies, posting content, and then sharing that on IG, LinkedIn, YouTube, and all these different platforms where I can instantly instantly build credibility by showing other people that I've achieved a specific result for the clients that I do have. All right, and lastly is you want to have magnetic content. So the more content you put out there, the more content that's actually good, is that's going to lead to inbound leads, right? You're going to have people kind of asking like, how are you doing it? Or what do you do, right? And you're going to start having people interact with you. So you want to just be able to post a lot of content and kind of, again, share the wins, share some of the things that you're doing in terms of the actual system and how it works. You can share some personal stuff about yourself as well, right? Add some personality to it. But the point is, you have to be putting out content. People see so many things on a daily basis. You have to be able to stand out, and you have to be able to have somebody acknowledge you and know that you exist, right? That's going to be the main thing. So daily content, that's going to help a lot if you can do that. And of course, showing people that you solve a specific pain point, that you're active, that you're dialed in, that you have real clients and real results, that's going to go a very long way. So one thing you can start doing completely free is you can start posting YouTube shorts, IG reels, Facebook, LinkedIn posts to build in public and become the go-to person for AI in your niche, right? So again, these are all going to be the main things that you have to start doing at the very beginning. And then eventually, once you start getting a few clients, once you start getting some money, and that's where you want to go ahead and run some paid ads, and you can really have a lot of leverage once you're able to do that. So these are my 3 proven steps on how to start an AI marketing agency in the modern world. Don't waste 6 to 12 months building your AI system from scratch. We've already built it, we've already battle tested it, and we install it for you. If you're serious about standing out, converting more leads, and scaling fast, book a call below to license our proven AI system and get it launched in days, not months.